Hello and welcome to the Scatterable channel, and today we're going to be going over the best Cyber Monday deals I've found for processors, graphics cards, motherboards, SSDs, power supplies, PC cases, you name it. I found all of them for this deals video. Now, I've learned from Black Friday, and I'm uploading this video one day early because, as we found out on Black Friday, a lot of deals dried up the day or two before Black Friday actually hit. So I'm preemptively releasing this the day before Cyber Monday because I want you guys to take advantage of these deals before Cyber Monday rolls around and has everyone snatching up all the deals I cover. That said, if any new deals pop up, I will be including them in the description along with all the other deals that I feature throughout this video, so you can stay the most up to date to get the best chance possible at getting a lot of these components at their lowest prices. So don't stress out about it. Again, all those deals will be linked in the description below, along with my website, pcbuilds.gg, if you just want a one-stop shop to find out what are the best PC build lists at different budgets, along with how to create those custom PC builds with my full PC build videos. First, we're going to kick off with processors and then move on down the chain and then finishing out with graphics cards. I want to first cover this Ryzen 7 5700X3D combo that features the CPU, motherboard, and 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. Now, I don't know what kind of memory is included in this, but the CPU and motherboard combo alone being $300 is worth it. And with that memory, yeah, this is a good deal. So if you wanted to build a new PC, albeit on an older socket with the AM4 socket with the best AM4 CPU there is, other than the 5800X3D, which you can't really get anymore, this is your best shot. The CPU itself still retails for about $200, but with this motherboard from MSI and 32 gigs of DDR4 memory, this is pretty good. Now, I do want to give a shout out for all of you people who out there who want to use an APU, because AMD is running some nice discounts on the 8600G and the 8700G on Amazon. Both are at a really nice discount of $160 for the 8600G, and I think, albeit more expensive, an even better deal for the 8-core variant with better integrated graphics at $255 for the 8700G. If you want something to hold yourself over before you get a graphics card, then either of these APU choices is a good move right now. I mean, I'd say it's probably the only move you can make, because after Cyber Monday, these will go back up in price and they'll return to being not really worth it for MSRP. Now, a lot of Ryzen 7600X deals have dried up, but fortunately, Newegg is still offering this at $195 with a $30 off promo code. That is still really good. Not as good as Black Friday, because we could have found one of these on Amazon for $183, but even then, historically speaking, under $200 is a really good price for a 7600X. So even if this isn't an all-time low price, this is still really nice for any of you who are looking to build an AM5 gaming PC on a budget with the best 6-core CPU they have to offer, other than the 7600X3D, which you can only get in Micro Center, which is also worth it. Speaking of, you can still get the 7700X, although it's back ordered, for $260. That's still worth it for this CPU. $260 for a 7700X is still very good. And at one point, it was the fastest gaming CPU made by AMD. It was able to go toe-to-toe with a 13900K back in the day, which was really impressive for an 8-core CPU. And need I say more? This honestly is as extreme as you'd want to go for an AM5 gaming CPU. Yeah, sure, there's the 7900X and the 7950X, but those are for people who are gamers and professionals who need a multi-core CPU for CPU-based workload and rendering applications, which is not a lot of you. All you really need is still 8 cores and 16 threads, and heck, 6 cores is still plenty. And again, this is the most extreme I'd go, other than picking up one of those X3D CPUs like the 9800X3D or 7800X3D or 7600X3D. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Intel, because they are still offering some really gnarly discounts on some 14th generation CPUs. I recommend picking up one of these if you're already on a 12th generation CPU, especially if it's an i3 or i5, like an i5 12400F or an i3 12100F. Picking up a 14600KF for $192 is still really, really good. That is going to be a really good upgrade from that i3 or i5 12th gen you may still be on. And you can just ride home with this CPU and be fine for many years to come. This really won't bottleneck a lot unless you pair up a 5090 with it or a 5080. There you'll definitely get some bottlenecks depending on the resolution, but this is still a very fast CPU. But I guess if you wanted even more performance, you have the 14700KF with a $33 off promo code. Admittedly, it's back ordered, but I still consider it's worth picking up at its low price of, I think, $313 or $315. I can't do math right now. That's still a really good price for this CPU. So if you felt like the 14600KF wasn't a big enough upgrade, you've got the 14700KF, and no, neither of those CPUs will be suspect to degradation thanks to some of the latest BIOS updates that have come out from Intel addressing those issues on most motherboards. And either way, as long as you don't push these CPUs, they won't be suspect to that degradation. Next, let's talk about motherboards, and the ASRock B650M HDV M.2 is way too good of a deal at $100. Really, I mean, this is a better deal technically than the ASRock B650M Pro RS Wi-Fi. Because yes, while this is a white motherboard with onboard Wi-Fi and 4 DIMM slots for RAM sticks, this for $30 less, you can pair up a cheap M.2 Wi-Fi 6E card here on the bottom left. No, you don't need those extra 2 DIMM slots. You aren't going to be going over 64 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, DDR5 for a gaming PC. This is going to offer the same performance as this, but it's going to cost about $15 less. So if you really want to make the most bang for your buck for a B650 motherboard, this ASRock one is really, really tempting. Now again, the Pro RS is there if you want something already with Wi-Fi, and I guess if you want 4 DIMM channels for your memory, that's not really gonna matter. But I mean, this is just a white version of the HDV that I just covered, but it's gonna be about $15 more. Now fortunately, Gigabyte is still offering some nice discounts on their B650 motherboards. The one that I like the most is the B650 Aorus Elite AX. This is essentially an MSI Tomahawk with a discount, but it's got the Gigabyte stuff on it and this really nice M.2 heatsink for additional M.2 SSDs you'll be throwing underneath your graphics card. And this motherboard will definitely stay cool. If there's one thing I know with these Gigabyte boards, is that they kind of overdo it with the amount on the board, including the VRM. So these things will be cool, and this has a 14+2+1 power phase design with up to 70 amps of draw for the CPU. That is all fine and dandy, and more than enough for like a 9800 X3D. This thing can handle a lot, guys. But I guess for any reason, if you wanted to handle even more, MSI is offering an X670E Gaming Plus with a $20 off promo for $200. If you felt like that B650 wasn't enough, which it already is enough, you've got this X670E, and the E is just extra, a little bit more security for the CPU. If you wanted to overclock it for any reason, sure, you can absolutely do that with this X670E motherboard. And you also get PCIe Gen 5.0 on that top PCI slot for your graphics card, just for a little bit faster performance. And same goes for the M.2 slot here on the top. And it's white and black. I really don't need to say anymore. Does it have Q-Flash? It might have Q-Flash. Maybe. That would be, yeah. This might have Q-Flash. If you wanted to throw in a Ryzen 9000 CPU onto this motherboard, you could. You wouldn't need a CPU beforehand. You could just use Q-Flash. Now, the last 2 other deals I want to quickly cover are for AM4 CPUs. If you still wanted to build a system with an AM4 CPU brand new in 2024, MSI are discounting the heck out of their Tomahawk B550, which is a very solid motherboard. The only thing you got to keep in mind is that this does not have Wi-Fi, but this will handle any AM4 CPU you throw at it. But if you wanted something with Wi-Fi for only $10 more, this is arguably the better deal. The B550 Aorus Elite AX version 2 with Wi-Fi. If you look on the top left right there, you can throw some Wi-Fi antennas right there. This is about on par with the Tomahawk, maybe slightly less, but still very good. And for $120 with Wi-Fi, this is the best brand new B550 motherboard deal you can find for an ATX sized motherboard. I'm gonna kind of gloss over Intel motherboards because I really don't expect you guys to build new systems with the LGA 1700 socket, but nonetheless, I do have 2 Intel motherboard deals also linked in the description below. Okay, so for RAM, this is it right here, DDR5 RAM. You can get this Team T-Force Delta RGB kit of memory, 6400 megahertz with a cache latency of 32. That is about the fastest you would need for pretty much any standard Ryzen 7000 or 9000 PC using a 600 series motherboard. So if you're using a B650 or a X670, this is the fastest memory you could realistically pair it up up with besides doing some fancy overclocking. This is Intel and AMD ready, and at $90 with RGB, this is your best budget DDR5 kit of RAM you can get right now, because a lot of other RAM kits around this price range are out of stock, or they're not that good. But if you wanted to double up on memory, here are some 64 gig kits you could consider. We have this G-Skill Flare X with a $15 off promo code, putting this at $175 with a speed of 6,000 megahertz and a cache latency of 30. That's not that bad, but I think the better deal is gonna have to be this G-Skill Trident Z5, 64 gigabyte, 6400 megahertz with a cache latency of 32 with RGB, and these enlarged Trident Z heat sinks for $190, so only about $15 more, but I reckon it's worth it. You get a nicer memory kit that is faster with a better clock speed and lower not lower cache latency, but a better cache latency to speed ratio. But if you wanted something balls to the wall for an X870 motherboard for a Ryzen 9000 CPU, you do have this G-Skill Trident Z5 Neo with 8000 megahertz with a cache latency of 38. And this should work on most X870 motherboards, and by extension, Z890 motherboards if you're building an Intel Core Ultra PC. But even this is fairly extreme. Actually, I don't know if it's XMP rated. It may just be Expo for AMD. Now, what about SSDs? Well, I am happy to say that one of my favorite SSD kinds out there is the Acer Predator M.2 SSD. I've used this SSD in quite a few of my other PC build guides because it is probably the best value 2 terabyte and 4 terabyte M.2 SSD out there with impressive read and write speeds, PCIe Gen 4.0 compatibility, but most importantly, it features a really nice onboard DRAM controller, and now it's on an even better discount. For 4 terabytes, you can pick this up for $220. That is the best I've seen for this tier of an SSD. There are some that are cheaper than it, but are DRAM-less, whereas this does have DRAM. But I think maybe even a better deal for you PC builders, you can get this 1 terabyte for $70. Given the rise of SSD prices as of late, this is a good deal for an SSD with really fast read and write speeds, a quality onboard DRAM controller, TLC, and PCIe Gen 4.0 compatibility. It's easily probably the best SSD deal out of this entire video. But I do want to cover 2 more deals. You can get this 2 terabyte Seagate FireCuda 530R with a $20 off promo code. It's going to put it at about $110. This does come with a DRAM controller, which is good. And at 2 terabytes, this is probably the last remaining really good deal 2 terabyte M.2 SSD with a DRAM controller that's PCIe Gen 4.0. But I would like to kind of give an honorable mention to this 8 terabyte WD Black SN850X. It's extremely overkill. 8 terabytes is a lot, but heck, if you wanted one, it's back ordered, but it's at $550, and that's not bad. Oh yeah, power supplies. I'm getting this power supply actually for a future PC build. The MSI Mag A850GL PCIe 5 with ATX 3.0 power supply. That's 80 plus gold, 850 watts for $85. That is a very good price. Usually this retails typically at $100 at the lowest. Sometimes it goes up to $120. So $85 is a really good deal. And this is a quality power supply. And like I said, it uses a PCIe 5.0 connector on here for any of you who are going to be using an Nvidia RTX 4000 or 5000 series graphics cards. So you have that in mind, and it's also ATX 3.0 ready. Now, if you wanted even more wattage, I would actually take a gamble on this Gigabyte GP UD1000 GM, also PCIe 5.0 ready, also ATX 3.0 ready, but is 1000 watts. And maybe I'll actually pick this one up. And no, this one is not gonna blow up on you. Gigabyte have learned their lesson. Heck, it's the revision 2. This should be solid, and at $110, I think I'm actually gonna pick this one up because the system I'm gonna build with it is gonna use some overclocking on the CPU and a really fast graphics card. So I think in that case, I want 1000 watts. And this is probably the best. And it's cool to see the revision 2 receive this discount because the original is too expensive. Now on to cases. Fantex is offering the XT Pro at $50. It does come with one case fan, so you will need to populate it with your own, but that isn't the end of the world. For $50, this is a very quality chassis. That's all I'll say. Also, you can get the Cube 500 for $75. Same kind of deal as the Phanteks case that I just covered. It only comes with one rear case fan. You will need to populate it with more, but this is one of the best built cases under $100. The quality is extremely outstanding, and the amount of customization, flexibility, and features this case offers for $75 easily beats it in other cases in its price category. And its performance is still going to be quite comparable. There's also the Cooler Master NR2P100 V2. This is finally a good discount for the version 2 of the NR2P100. If it was above $100, I'd argue the original is a slightly better deal, but this below $100 is worth it. It does make some good revisions over the original. You can fit longer graphics cards in it. It comes with onboard USB Type-C, and all graphics cards that come in this will be vertically mounted. And for $95, I really like it for an ITX PC case. But the standout case deal is gonna have to be this NZXT H Series Elite H7 case with $80. With a $10 promotional gift card, effectively maybe making this about $70. With 3 front RGB fans and 1 in the rear, this is the best PC case deal of the entire video. I know the rental PC company business may not be the most legitimate right now, but this case itself is legitimate. It's gonna offer great airflow, great build quality, and an H7 case for under $100 with fans. This is the best case deal I've seen all Cyber Monday and Black Friday. Now, in regards to coolers, this Thermaltake UX200 I think is the best price to performing CPU cooler under $30 that has RGB. There's a Cooler Master Hyper 2 something that is $25. It doesn't cool as well as this, and it is $5 more expensive. So if you want the most bang for your buck CPU cooler, get this. But once again, I do gotta give a shout out to these Enermax Liquid Max AIOs. There's a lot of them for sale, including this one. So if you wanted a cheap AIO, these Enermax ones are not that bad to look at. And the reason why they're inexpensive is because they don't feature any RGB, but they are liquid cooled at the end of the day. But if you wanted something that has the aesthetics, it does have a better onboard pump and quality. We have the Cooler Master Atmos 360. I've messed with the 240 before last year, and it's a really well-built CPU cooler. And this, yeah, it usually retails for about 150, but for under $100, this is really good. I mean, I like the Enermax for the value, but the aesthetics and the quality of this Atmos 360, I think I might pick it up over that. In fact, wait, is the white also on a discount? Oh no, okay. Otherwise, I was so gonna buy this CPU cooler, but no, only the black one. I'm working on a white build next, if you're wondering. Okay, now let's round things out with graphics card deals, and I am happy to report there are some new deals that have popped up since Black Friday, 3 of them actually being pretty decent. One of them is this RX 6600M you can get from Millsy on AliExpress for $161. If you are looking for no more than a cost-effective 1080p gaming GPU, this is essentially a Radeon RX 6600 with a $30 off discount. It works the exact same and uses pretty much the same drivers. Only thing is that it comes from AliExpress, but it's worth it. I've built a PC with this exact GPU before, back in April of this year, and I have no complaints. It worked just like a regular Radeon card. And I'm happy to see this actually come down in price. It went up in price around mid of this year in the summer and fall, but now it's come back down, and this is a good price to pick up a really cost-effective GPU from AMD. Speaking of cost-effective though, I did not expect this GPU to go on a really nice discount, but this is one of my favorite deals of this entire Cyber Monday. You could pick up a Radeon RX 7600 XT, this exact one which I've used in my $900 gaming PC, for $280. That is really flipping good. This is a better deal than the Radeon RX 6750 XT for $300. Yeah, and the performance between those two CPUs are about the same. Yeah, this 6750 XT is technically faster, but this for $20 less takes, I think, the crown for me. If you wanted an entry-level 1440p gaming graphics card or a no questions asked 1080p gaming graphics card that could maybe hold you over for a really higher end graphics card in the future, don't forget this has 16 gigabytes of VRAM. for under $300. That's really good stuff. So I definitely recommend looking at this GPU if you're wanting a cost-effective mid-range graphics card on a really good discount. This is the lowest I've ever seen a 7600 XT. The only downside is that it doesn't arrive until January of next year, but it's worth the wait. It is worth the wait. And I don't know how XFX keep managing to pull this off, but you could still get a Radeon RX 6800 for under $350. On Black Friday, this was $340, which was insane, but you can still get it on Amazon for $348. And even with upcoming graphics card releases from Intel, AMD, and Nvidia, this is still worth getting. 16 gigabytes of memory, really fast onboard hardware, and even though it is a last generation GPU, the price to performance is just way too good. It is way better than an RTX 4060 Ti, and it is way better than the RX 6750 XT that is within $50 of this GPU. I would absolutely spend more than that to pick up one of these. And speaking of, it's probably it is a better deal right now than the 7700 XT, because the 7700 XT can only be found for about $380 right now. So this is an even better 1440p gaming graphics card and can do some light 4K gaming depending on the title. So if you want the most cost-effective 1440p gaming GPU that is gonna run nearly anything you want, get a 6800. It's still worth getting this late into 2024. And again, XFX are pulling some voodoo magic. You can get a 7800 XT for $450. Now, the all-time low price I saw this GPU go at was $420 not on Black Friday, but a few days before Black Friday. So this isn't an all-time low price, but it's still a very excellent price for the 7800 XT nonetheless, which is why I'm including it. Unfortunately, if this one does go out of stock, Newegg is selling the exact same one from ASRock for the same price. And I'd still 100% pick up a 7800 XT at $450 if you have the chance, because after Cyber Monday, this graphics card is probably going to go back up to $470, $480. Same for the ASRock, so you're still going to get a nice $20 to $30 discount on Radeon's best all-around RX 7000 GPU. Even with their future GPUs and Nvidia's future GPUs on the horizon, the price to performance of this GPU is still going to be way too good to pass up, especially on this Cyber Monday sale for $450. And I'll say this, if you want a no questions asked 1440p gaming graphics card that's even more overkill than the RX 6800 that I just covered, and you want to do, maybe a little bit of 4K gaming here and there, this is it. I've used this graphics card before in quite a few of my PC builds, and I mean, this is the most that any PC gamer needs, because most of you guys aren't looking into 4K gaming, you're looking into 1440p gaming. And this can do just about everything you'd ask of it. Now guess what? There is one Nvidia deal actually in this video, and I didn't expect this one to come out of thin air, but you can actually get the 4070 Super from ASUS in this nice quality Prime Edition model for $590. Now, this isn't a crazy deal by 4070 Super standards, because I've seen this graphics card go for as low as $570 and $580 before Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but I've never seen specifically this Prime Edition card from ASUS be this low in price. So I am happy to see ASUS provide this nice discount on Nvidia's best price to performance RTX 4000 GPU. I'd say if you want really nice 1440p gaming performance, just like the 7800 XT, but you want to do some ray tracing and some other Nvidia supported stuff like 3D rendering and AI, this is the only remaining RTX 4000 Super deal that is worth pursuing, because all the 4070 Ti Super deals have dried up. The 4080 Super never went on a discount at all, and this is it. This is your last remaining really good deal on an Nvidia graphics card going into Cyber Monday. But oh man, Powercolor with the comeback of the day. And they may actually be discounting quite a few of their other graphics cards on Cyber Monday as well. So again, stay tuned in the description. But they're offering the Red Devil 7900 XTX for $840. This is a top tier 7900 XTX. If you have aspirations to get like the XFX Mercury or the Sapphire Nitro edition of this graphics card, but you missed out on those, this is your last remaining chance to get a top tier 7900 XTX. And I've been trying to tell you guys, like, AMD is not gonna produce a graphics card like this in their next generation of GPUs. They are stopping at the mid-range. They're not gonna make a Halo high-end edition card. This is it. It's got the same amount of VRAM of a 4090, but for half the price. And in some cases, it can keep up with a 4090 or at times beat it. And it's still fast enough to do ray tracing. Obviously not as good as Nvidia, but it's still got enough raw computational performance that even when you put on FSR3 on a ray tracing game, it's still gonna get really excellent frames per second. But again, I feel like most of you who are looking into this graphics card are looking for that excellent price to performance with so much hardware that it's gonna keep you held over for a long time for many years to come. And this is Powercolor's best of the best for 840. I think this deal is gonna go out of stock really soon, so pick it up while you can. And once again, all those deals will be linked in the description below. I'll be updating them on the day of Cyber Monday, so good luck. This is it. There's not gonna be a whole lot more deals after this. I mean, there could be, but they won't be as consolidated for all the different topics for PC gaming. So good luck. And if you've enjoyed watching this video, give it a like. And this is my last deals video of the year. So I would say subscribe for more, but I mean, I'll be making more PC builds and other stuff like that. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching. And this is the Scatterable channel signing out.